Imagine spending a decade of your life sifting through endless desert sand, ridiculed by your peers, funding dwindling, teetering on the brink of absolute failure. That was the reality for Howard Carter, an archaeologist whose greatest discovery almost never happened. But here's the crazy part. The man who funded him, Lord Carnarvon, wasn't even originally in Egypt for archaeology at all. This is the untold story of perseverance, desperation, and sheer luck that led to the unearthing of Tutankhamun's tomb. For centuries, the Valley of the Kings had yielded incredible treasures. But by the early 20th century, many believed it was exhausted. The great pharaohs' resting places had been plundered, their secrets long gone. Yet, one man refused to give up. Howard Carter, a self-taught British archaeologist, possessed an unwavering belief that one tomb remained hidden. The tomb of the boy king, Tutankhamun. Carter was a fascinating, if somewhat difficult, character. Born in 1874, his formal education was limited. He began his career in Egypt at just 17. Not as an excavator, but as an artist, meticulously drawing inscriptions. His eye for detail was unparalleled, but his temperament often clashed with superiors. He was tenacious, meticulous, and utterly obsessed with ancient Egypt. By 1907, he found himself without a patron, his career in tatters. He was almost fired multiple times due to his prickly personality and a distinct lack of significant finds. Then came George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, a wealthy aristocrat with a passion for collecting. Carnarvon's initial foray into Egyptology was purely accidental. After a severe car accident in 1903, doctors recommended he spend winters in a warm, dry climate. Egypt became his favored retreat, and soon, he developed a keen interest in antiquities. He wasn't a scholar, but he had resources and an adventurous spirit. In 1907, he met Carter, and a partnership was forged, one that would define both their legacies. Carnarvon provided the funding. Carter provided the expertise and the relentless drive. For 10 long seasons, they toiled in the Valley of the Kings. Year after year, nothing. Carter's meticulous methods, while thorough, produced little more than pottery shards and false leads. The archaeological establishment grew skeptical. The press, too, began to mock what they saw as a fruitless endeavor. Carnarvon, despite his immense wealth, was growing impatient. By 1922, he delivered an ultimatum. One final season. If nothing was found, the funding would cease. This was Carter's last gamble. With his career, reputation, and perhaps his sanity on the line, Carter returned to the valley in late 1922. He decided to focus his efforts on a small, triangular area beneath the workmen's huts that had been used during the construction of Ramesses VI's tomb, KV9. This spot had been overlooked by previous excavators, deemed unpromising. It was a long shot, a desperate, final throw of the dice. Then, on the morning of the 4th of November 1922, a young waterboy, clearing debris, stumbled upon something hard beneath his foot. It wasn't rock. It was the top of a stone step. Carter, immediately alerted, ordered the area cleared. More steps emerged. A staircase. And at the bottom, a sealed doorway. The seal bore the cartouche of Tutankhamun. After a decade of failure, of ridicule, of near abandonment, Carter had found it. he sent a telegram to Carnarvon in England. A message that would echo through history. Have made wonderful discovery in valley. A magnificent tomb with seals intact. Recovered for your arrival. Congratulations. Carnarvon, accompanied by his daughter Lady Evelyn Herbert, arrived in Luxor on the 23rd of November. 3 days later, on the 26th of November 1922, the moment arrived. Carter, Carnarvon, Lady Evelyn, and Carnarvon's secretary, Arthur Callender, stood before the sealed door. Carter carefully made a tiny breach in the upper left-hand corner, inserting a candle to test for foul air. The flickering flame indicated breathable air. Then, he peered inside. Carnarvon, anxious, asked, "Can you see anything?" Carter famously replied, "Yes, wonderful things." Quote, what he saw was an antechamber, crammed with incredible treasures. Gilded couches, chariots, intricate chests, statues, and the glint of gold everywhere. As Carter himself later wrote, "At first I could see nothing, the hot air escaping from the chamber causing the candle flame to flicker. But presently, as my eyes grew accustomed to the gloom, details of the room emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold. Everywhere the glint of gold. It was an unprecedented sight. A king's ransom untouched for over 3 millennia. But here's a lesser-known fact. Tutankhamun's tomb hadn't been entirely untouched. It had been broken into twice in antiquity. Likely by opportunist thieves. However, ancient officials had caught the robbers, resealed the tomb, and restored some order, preserving the vast majority of its contents. This ancient resealing is why Carter found it largely intact. The discovery ignited a global sensation. The press descended upon Luxor. And Carnarvon, seeking to recoup his substantial investment, famously granted exclusive reporting rights to the Times newspaper. This decision infuriated other journalists, who, in retaliation, began to sensationalize every development. And this, my friends, is where the infamous curse of Tutankhamun truly began. Just 5 months after the tomb's opening, on the 5th of April 1923, Lord Carnarvon died in Cairo. The official cause was blood poisoning from an infected mosquito bite, exacerbated by pneumonia and a weakened immune system. But the media, starved of access and eager for a gripping story, spun it into something far more sinister. They claimed an ancient curse had struck down the tomb's desecrator. Even the famed author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of Sherlock Holmes, publicly suggested that an evil elemental had been unleashed. This counterintuitive truth challenges common beliefs. The curse was a brilliant piece of early 20th century tabloid journalism. Many other key figures associated with the excavation lived long, healthy lives. Howard Carter himself lived for another 16 years, dying in 1939 at the age of 64 from lymphoma. Lady Evelyn Herbert, who was also present at the opening, lived until 1980, reaching the impressive age of 79. The myth of the curse, however, persists, a testament to the power of a good story. The painstaking process of clearing the tomb took a full decade. Over 5,000 individual artifacts were catalogued, conserved, and removed. The antechamber, the annex, the treasury, and finally, the burial chamber itself, opened on the 16th of February 1923. Inside lay the sarcophagus, containing 3 nested coffins. The innermost one crafted from 110 kilograms of solid gold. And within that, The mummified remains of Tutankhamun. Adorned with the iconic golden death mask, perhaps the most recognizable artifact from ancient Egypt. Tutankhamun, a relatively minor pharaoh who reigned for just 9 years, c. 1332 to 1323 BC, and died around the age of 19, became immortalized. His tomb, KV 62, was not the grandest, but its undisturbed state offered an unparalleled window into the wealth, artistry, and funerary beliefs of the New Kingdom. It changed Egyptology forever, proving that even after decades of intense exploration, the desert still held unimaginable secrets. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb is more than just an archaeological triumph. It's a profound human story of perseverance against overwhelming odds, of a partnership born of disparate needs, and of the enduring allure of the unknown. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest treasures are found not just through skill, but through an unshakable belief in what might still lie hidden just beneath the surface. It was a discovery that captivated the world and continues to inspire generations, proving that history is always waiting to be unearthed. Subscribe to Extrano Chronicles for more untold history.